George Herman Ruth was born on February 6, 1895, to George and Catherine Ruth, two working-class citizens of Boston, Massachusetts. He lived in a very poor neighborhood, and he, along with his sister, were the only two of his 8 siblings who survived past infancy. His parents owned a tavern, so they were unable to watch over him, and he got into trouble with the law at age 7. He was sent to St. Mary's Industrial School for Boys, an asylum in Baltimore for orphans and delinquents, and would call this place home for the next 12 years. Soon after arriving, he developed an attachment to Brother Matthias, who would become like a father figure in his life. Matthias would teach Ruth how to play baseball and to bat the ball like no one else. George's career began in 1914 when he signed a contract for Jack Dunn, owner of a local minor league team called the Baltimore Orioles. While he was on the team, he earned the nickname Babe, and it stuck with him for his entire career. After less than a year, he signed another contract as a pitcher with the Major League Boston Red Sox. He played for the team between 1914 and 1919 and helped them win the World Series 3 times in 1915, 16, and 18. While playing on the Red Sox, he met a waiter named Helen Woodford, and they got married soon after, him 21 and her 18. Unfortunately, their marriage ended in 1927 because of Ruth's tendency to cheat on her while on the road. During his time on the team, he became the best left-handed pitcher in the league. But when the draft for World War I began, he was placed on first base and was put into the batting lineup. This gave him the opportunity to show off how well he could hit, and in 1919 he broke the world record for the most home runs in a season. He hit 29 that year. Because of his incredible talent, he was sold to the New York Yankees during the 1919 season for $100,000, the most a player had ever been sold for. While he was playing for the Yankees, he was placed in the outfield and focused primarily on his hitting ability. He saw immediate success and almost doubled his record with 54 home runs this time. The next year, 1921, he broke the record for the third time in a row, this time with 59. The next couple of years were not good, but in 1923 he helped his team win the World Series for the first time. Unfortunately, in 1925, he suffered from an intestinal disease commonly thought to be syphilis, and he was out for about half the season. During his time off the field, he gained a lot of weight and only hit 25 home runs that year. After this ordeal, he immediately came back with 47 home runs the next season. 1927 was the best season that he ever had, and he smacked 60 baseballs out of the park. That year was considered to be the best season that the Yankees ever had, and the nearly unstoppable batting lineup, which consisted of players like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Earl Combs, Mark Koenig, Bob Musial, and Tony Lazzeri, they were called Murderers Row. The team went 110-44 in the regular season and went on to sweep the Pittsburgh Pirates in the World Series. The following season, Babe Ruth went on to hit 54 home runs and beat the Cardinals 4-0 in the series. His career went downhill from here, though, and in 1929 was the last season that he won the World Series. That year, his first wife, Helen, died in a fire, and he gained custody over his daughter, Dorothy. He also married Claire Hodgson, who he was married to until his death. He stayed with the Yankees until 1934, when he was traded to the Boston Braves. He played for this team for 1 year, and then announced his retirement on June 2, 1935. He ended his career with 714 home runs, 7 World Series wins, the MVP award, and the record for the most home runs in a single season. Because of how well he could hit the ball, he got nicknames such as the Sultan of Swat, the Behemoth of Bust, and the Caliph of Clout. In 1936, Ruth became one of the first 5 players who were inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Even though his career was over, he still signed with many products and was able to live a life of leisure during his retirement. Unfortunately, his retirement was short-lived because he was diagnosed with cancer in 1946. His health quickly deteriorated, and the last time he was seen in public was when he was present for the 25th anniversary of the opening of Yankee Stadium on June 13, 1948. Soon after, he was diagnosed with pneumonia and died a week later, on August 16, 1948, at the age of 53. After the autopsy, he was found to have another rare tumor on the inside of his nose. During his viewing and funeral service, over 75,000 people came to see his body. Even though he is dead, his legacy still lives on, and he is considered by many people to be the greatest baseball player ever.